Listen, everyone, you've been lied to your whole life. They told you that success belongs to the lucky, to the chosen, to the ones born with talent. But I'm here to tell you the truth. It belongs to the ones who believe, the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who build a mindset so strong that nothing, no failure, no doubt, no obstacle can break them. Self-belief starts within because no one can hand it to you. No one can deposit it into your heart, and no one can live your journey for you. Too many people spend their entire lives waiting for validation, waiting for someone to say they're good enough, smart enough, or talented enough to go after what they want. But the truth is, the world doesn't work like that. If you keep waiting for permission, you'll keep waiting for the rest of your life. The moment you understand that the only voice that really matters is the one in your own head, you unlock a different level of power. Success doesn't begin with money, opportunities, or even talent. It begins with belief. Without it, every opportunity feels like a burden, every challenge feels impossible, and every setback feels permanent. With it, those same things become stepping stones, lessons, and fuel for the next level. When you decide to believe in yourself, you give yourself the right to try, to fail, and to try again without shame. You no longer operate from fear, but from faith. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy. It means you'll have the strength to keep walking when others stop. Self-belief is the foundation of every great achievement you've ever heard of, because behind every success story was a person who said, I don't care if no one else sees it. I see it. That's where it begins, inside of you, not outside, not in the applause of the crowd, not in the acceptance of others, but in the quiet decision to trust yourself enough to move forward, even when nobody claps and nobody notices. It's an inner contract you sign with yourself that says, no matter what, you're willing to bet on your defeat happens in the mind long before it shows up in reality. Most people lose the battle before they even step onto the field because they have already convinced themselves they can't win. They wake up in the morning carrying doubts, replaying failures, and predicting outcomes that haven't even happened yet. That negative mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When your thoughts tell you that you're not enough, your actions follow that script. You hesitate, you pull back, and you never give your full effort because deep down you don't expect to succeed. The truth is, life will always test you, but it is your mind that determines how you respond. When you face a challenge, if your first thought is fear and your second thought is quitting, then you've already surrendered before the fight begins. The ones who win aren't always the strongest or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to be defeated in their thoughts. They tell themselves, I belong here. I can do this. I will keep going no matter what. That mental toughness creates a different kind of energy, and it changes how you show up. You attack problems instead of avoiding them. You search for solutions instead of excuses, and you find a way to stand tall even when the odds look impossible. Winning begins in your mindset, because if you believe you can endure, you push longer. If you believe you can figure it out, you look harder. If you believe it's possible, you act like it is. The battle of life is never won outside first. It is always won inside. The moment you master your thoughts and refuse to let negativity dictate your actions, you position yourself to overcome anything placed in front of you. Belief is built, not bought, and that's what makes it so powerful. You can't walk into a store and pick it up. You can't borrow it from someone else, and you can't just wake up one day and expect it to magically appear. It is something that grows through the decisions you make and the actions you take every single day. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you stack another brick on the foundation of your belief. When you push through resistance, when you do the work even when nobody is watching, when you choose discipline over comfort, you're building evidence that you can trust yourself. That evidence becomes confidence, and confidence becomes belief. Most people fail to understand that self-belief is not about arrogance, it's about proof. If you've proven to yourself that you can survive setbacks, that you can stay consistent, that you can show up when it's hard, then you no longer need external validation. You start to stand taller because you know you've put in the work. Belief is built through repetition, through those quiet moments when you rise early, when you practice, when you commit to doing what you said you would do. It's built when you decide that your dreams deserve effort, not excuses. The process is not glamorous and it's often lonely, but that's what makes it real. Every rep in the gym, every late night at the desk, every small victory adds another layer of strength to your mindset. And over time, those layers become unshakable. Belief is the result of stacking discipline on top of effort, consistency on top of persistence, and courage on top of fear until you create a foundation so solid that nothing can knock it down. Discipline creates confidence because when you consistently do what you said you would do, you begin to trust yourself on a deeper level. Most people struggle with self-doubt because they break promises to themselves. They say they'll wake up early, but they hit snooze. They say they'll eat clean, but they give in to junk. They say they'll put in the work, but they stop halfway. Every broken promise chips away at confidence, and over time, they stop believing in their own words. But when you live with discipline, you flip that pattern. You create a track record of victories, no matter how small. That builds inner strength. Waking up when you don't feel like it, showing up when it's inconvenient, finishing what you started even when it's uncomfortable. All of that is evidence, and that evidence becomes the fuel for confidence. You don't have to fake it because you've lived it. You can stand tall in the face of challenges because you know you've already prepared for them in private. Confidence is not built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows where nobody is watching. Discipline is the bridge that takes you from wishing to knowing, from hoping to certainty. When you've practiced, when you've worked, when you've sacrificed, you don't walk into situations with fear. You walk in with assurance. That's why athletes, leaders, and achievers who train harder than everyone else always carry a different energy. They don't hope they'll win. They expect to win because their discipline has already written the story. Confidence built on discipline cannot be shaken by opinions, setbacks, or failure because it is rooted in proof. It's not something given. It's something earned through relentless consistency and daily commitment to becoming your best self. Failure is fuel, not final, because every setback carries a lesson that pushes you closer to growth if you choose to see it that way. Too many people quit the moment they fall, as if falling means the journey is over. But failure is not the end of the story. It's the middle chapter that shapes the ending. Every time you fail, you gain information about what doesn't work, and that knowledge is priceless. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who avoided failure. They're the ones who refuse to let it define them. They learn to use failure as a mirror, not a wall. A mirror reflects what needs to change, what needs to be stronger, what needs more effort. And when you pay attention to those reflections, you come back sharper, smarter, and stronger. Failure is feedback, and feedback is fuel. The pain you feel after falling short is energy, and you can either let it break you or you can let it push you to train harder, think deeper, and rise higher. Every stumble builds resilience, and resilience is the muscle that separates those who make it from those who don't. You only develop that muscle when life knocks you down and you choose to get up again. Failure teaches humility, it teaches patience, and it teaches perseverance. It strips away the illusion that success is easy and forces you to understand that growth is a process. Once you realize that failure doesn't close doors but opens new ones, you stop fearing it and start embracing it. Every failure you face becomes a stepping stone, a spark that fuels the fire inside you to keep climbing, to keep learning, and to keep moving forward. No matter how many times you fall, a winning mindset refuses to quit because it understands that setbacks, struggles, and obstacles are part of the process, not the end of it. Life will test you with challenges designed to break your spirit, but the mindset that wins is the one that says, I will bend, but I will not break. It's not about never facing hardship. It's about refusing to let hardship dictate the outcome. When you build a mindset that refuses to quit, you stop treating difficulties as roadblocks and start treating them as training. Every challenge becomes a weight that strengthens your mental muscle. Every delay becomes a lesson in patience. Every obstacle becomes proof that you're on the path towards something greater. Most people give up not because they're weak, but because they've convinced themselves the fight isn't worth it. But a winning mindset is driven by purpose, and when your purpose is strong enough, quitting is no longer an option. You may cry, but you keep moving. You may fail, but you rise again. You may feel exhausted, but you take one more step. That persistence is what eventually separates winners from quitters. Quitting is permanent, but struggle is temporary. And when you learn to endure the temporary, you reach results that last forever. The mindset that refuses to quit doesn't ask, how long will this take? But instead asks, how far can I go? It is a relentless hunger to see what's possible if you just keep pressing forward. That hunger fuels resilience, and resilience fuels victory. No matter how many times you get knocked down, as long as you rise one more time and you fall, you can never be counted out. A winning mindset simply refuses to let the word quit live in its vocabulary. So understand this, your greatest weapon is not luck, not talent, not chance. It's the belief you carry inside of you. Build it with discipline, protect it with resilience, and fuel it with every failure that tries to stop you. Because when your mindset refuses to quit, you can't lose. The question is not if you'll win, the question is when. And the answer is simple, in the moment you decide to believe in yourself with everything you've got, victory is already yours.